Hello, good evening, and welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home at Tottenham. Let me get my teeth in and start again. Good evening, and welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home at Tottenham, past, present, and an exciting future under Ange Postecoglou as the mighty Spurs go marching on. And we're now in the middle of transfer window. I think, if I've got my dates right, we're at the halfway point or over the halfway point of transfer window 24-25 in the summer, and we've got a bit to go through. So some bits are going to be all right. One bit's going to send, I don't know where it's going to send some people, and then a little few bits at the end. Joining me tonight, of course, is my fellow co-host Philip Brady and Tequila. Start with you, Philip. How are you this evening, Philip?
I was okay till I saw some of the transfer news. Now I'm not so sure. All will be revealed shortly.
Yeah, I've just lost all my questions I've done for tonight's show. I forgot to save them.
You didn't save them, Dermo.
What happened while we're late, guys, is my computer decided to turn itself off, and I've lost all my questions. So I'm going to have to now think of them. They were really good questions as well. Yeah, I know, Philip. Well, look, we'll go through it, and we'll try to pick through the truth and the non-truth of it, Philip. See where we can do. And also joining us, of course, is Tequila, of course, the man who is now going to be known as Transfer Tippet Tequila. His show is out tomorrow. He's pre-recorded. We're doing that tomorrow, guys. So that is back for you again this weekend. How are you this evening, Tequila?
I'm okay. Not raccoon because no, I'm gonna have to work on it because it was causing that massive delay. And it was annoying. So I'm gonna have to work on it and make sure I can get it back. But until I can fix it, then you just have to have the dig with the two guns, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's fine. That's grand. Firstly, big up to Boris, our Patreon member, and everyone else that is a Patreon member. Big up to all of you. Thank you so much. We'll get into that, how you can become a Patreon member in a minute. Big up to Louis Chill Music. Hi, guys. Louis says Tottenham are open to selling Kulu this summer if their bid receive region between 35 and 40 million. Napoli have shown interest. So as another club, we are going to get into that.
Yeah.
Just to warn you, we are going to put a disclaimer to this show. Mr. Brady's not happy about that transfer. So we'll leave that.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. So anything Philip says, it's a disclaimer.
Do the disclaimer right now for Philip. Bless.
Tequila, hello everyone. Hope you're all well. Big up Tequila.
Hello, Tequila.
We've got Chef Spurs one. I hope it's a permanent transfer, i.e., not a loan. Waiting on confirmation for that, but it could be a loan with an obligation to buy. Big up to Peter. Hi, all. It's 5 a.m. Well, I tell you one thing. That guy deserves a medal. 5 o'clock in the morning.
Up early, isn't he?
Watching us. You are a legend. That is a legend. That's what I call a legend. Philip.
Peter, do you think he got up just to watch us, Dermo? Do you think he set his alarm? No,
I would like to think he did. I
think I remember Peter saying one other time he was actually working the night shift. That's why he was up at this stage.
That's the reason he's working the night. Well, we hope we can entertain you while you're working the night shift, dude.
Sorry, Tequila, you're doing the chats. Bring them up, man. Bring them up.
Yeah, okay. There. 1 sec. I saw you started doing it, and I was like, okay.
Sorry.
It's okay, mate. You got enough on your plate getting your questions back.
But big up to Simon. I'll just bring these up quickly then, Tequila, and then you can go into it. Big up to Simon as well, even though still waiting for the comments. It is coming. Yeah. Big up to, we've got Spursicus. Hail.
Big up Spursicus.
Hail. Is that it? We do it like that now. Hail Spursicus. Big up to Daniel Sandoval. Big up One Love. Big up to Stephen Cartwright. Even though, where the hell is our quality signings? Salonka incoming probably.
We got Gray. We got the other Swedish kid. That's fine.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've got a list sent to me which is going to happen. So I'm going to go through that in a minute. One might actually make Philip a bit more happier. So I'm hoping.
Yeah.
So I also would be totally cheesed off if we sell Kulu. You're not the only one. You're really not. I'm live with 1,000. I'm live with 100,000. With 1,000. Is that 100,000?
100,000.
100K. Yeah.
Subscribers on Matty Hayes' channel. Well, big up, Killian. Make sure you give us a little plug. Give our channel a plug. If you can, I would love you if you could do that. Get a few subscribers as we look to get to 2K. Wayne Bonner, good evening, everyone. Hope you are well. Having a great day. Tequila, just bring up the chats as they come in. Do you want me to start with the bit of breaking news I've got first, guys, or do you want me to get into Bryan Hill? What do you want me to do first?
Do the breaking news.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I want to run this. I've spent all day changing the music on this, so hopefully this is okay for YouTube. You don't get that on Sky Sports. You rarely don't.
No, but some of the ladies are a bit more attractive, though, than you. No offense, bro. They do put some nice ladies on there. Am I going to get told off for that?
We all know what Tequila watches Sky Sports for now.
Well, it's not for the sports news, anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So something's got to keep my attention. It's not going to be their journalism.
Yeah. Now, let's start with Hill to Girona in Italy. Yes, that's a very likely deal to go through.
Girona in Spain.
Yeah, possible. Reguilon to Brentford, one to watch, and Tony will leave Brentford unsure where he goes at the moment. So that is the sort of little bit of breaking news I've got for you guys. Well, let's start on Bryan Hill, Philip. Let's start on that. That's the second part, but this was the first part I got. An unconfirmed for deal is now edging closer with Girona, who qualified for the Champions League last season. Then about 10 minutes later, Philip, I got this then. Seville have made an offer to bring Bryan Hill back to the club, which is a loan with an option to buy, which could become an obligation if certain set conditions are met, but no offers at the moment have been made. Philip, first you on Hill. Bryan Hill has been at the club for a while. Do you know what impact do you think has he made on the club within the fan base?
A very small dent, really. Yeah, he hasn't had a chance. He really has never been played. And when he has been played, he's had the occasional flash of brilliance. Then he was too lightweight. He was easily brushed off the ball. So I would say he's been one of the least successful transfers. And that's, it really pains me to say that, because I think the guy has got a lot of talent and is probably better suited to the Spanish league. He'll probably do very well there, but he'll never, I think, make it at Tottenham. So I think this is bye-bye, Bryan, wherever he goes.
I mean, look, Philip, Tequila, look, he was known as the fifth Beatle or the sixth Beatle. I'm sorry to see him go because he has got talent, and I just felt he was mistreated. He was mistreated, I think, by a few managers, by Nuno, by Conte. I don't think they gave him the love and affection and the time he needed. And by the time Koglu came along, he had a reputation. So I do blame the two managers before Postecoglou for really mistreating him a little bit.
I wouldn't say it's mistreating Dermot. They just didn't fancy him as a player. That's just it. They didn't. They didn't fit what they were actually looking for in a player. Skillful and all as he is, he just never absolutely. He was like a square peg in a round hole a lot of the time, and just didn't fit. And it's an awful shame because he seems to be a lovely lad and a very technical footballer, but just it's like one of those. It happens now and again. He just did not make it, and unfortunately, as I say, Spain might suit him better.
Tequila, what's your thoughts on Bryan Hill?
I don't know if I agree with you exactly, Dermo, when it comes to not being treated badly. I do remember getting cameos. I mean, maybe you can say that these managers never started him and they never gave him, But I think they all saw similar things, that he was just too lightweight, like Phil said, for the Premier League. And the part that I do agree with you about mistreating him was whoever decided to keep sending the kid back to Spain, because he was never gonna learn to bulk up or to deal with, or also to climatize in the country, because we said before with these young players, you're not going to help him settle into London by sending him back to back to Spain. And we kept on sending him back to Spain year after year. We send him back to Spain. So, I mean, that's the part that I don't understand. That's the part that baffles me, is unless it's come from him and he said to them, I don't like living here. I don't like being in England. Can I please, I just want to go back home, for lack of a better word. And if that's the case, you have to think to yourself, well, why have we prolonged this for so many years? Why didn't we just sell him after the first or second year? But he's been here, what, 4 seasons?
3 or 4 seasons now, yeah.
And he's been on loan for most of that time. So to see him again linked, and he's been linked again with 2 Spanish clubs. So this is the point where you just have to say to him, okay, mate, you just want to stay in Spain. That's fine. That's great. You know, you're a long lad, so you want to stay in Spain. You feel comfortable. That's fine. And
he'll probably tear it up. He'll tear it up in Spain when he goes there.
Yeah, he'll feel settled in Spain. He obviously does.
Yeah, he was very successful with Seville when they won the Europa League. He's already won, I think, 2 Europa Leagues as a player in Spain.
Yeah,
so
but I think
I just want to say a massive big up to Jacob from United Spurs of America. Big up, Jacob. Great to see you in. And he says, big up you all. Bye, Hill. Finally, never wanted him here, but wish him well. Sir, big up now. Look, could you start that one for us, Tequila, and I'll come back to Spurs.
Just one thing about Hill there. I think based on where Seville only finished 14th in La Liga last season. Yeah. So there's no European football. Girona, as you said, are in the Champions League. So that should make it an easy decision for him, depending on the offer that's come in, you know?
Yeah. I mean, look, where do you think if he was loaned to a Championship side or a lower Premier League side, do you think he might have had a better chance than he did? Because I feel personally myself, I feel the likes of Conte, Conte for me, I think he went down in my thoughts of what he was as a man and a manager for the way he was at Tottenham, the way he reacted in that second season, and the way he didn't want to be there. He wanted to be anywhere else but being at Tottenham. And I feel some of the players suffered from him. I feel some of the players did suffer from his, I don't want to say military, but the way.
But have you any proof that he was a problem in the dressing room? I mean, is that just a surmising from what you've seen of him? Because I would say Bryan Hill is a very agreeable sort of fellow.
I wasn't on about Bryan Hill. I was on about Conte.
Conte. We all know about Conte. Yeah,
Conte, for me, he didn't want to be at Tottenham. So I feel the players that were there, he didn't give a chance. If we had a Postecoglou there when Hill was signed, maybe things might have been different. Maybe Bryan Hill could have had a better career at Tottenham. Maybe he could have been a bigger success. So is it fair to blame the other managers that I feel probably mistreated him is the wrong word, but more didn't give him a chance to succeed at Tottenham and the Premier League?
Yeah, you need to be a psychologist to work that sort of answer out. I think Bryan Hill came to England with very high hopes. Those hopes were not realised. You mentioned that should he go on loan to a lower Premiership League team? Possibly. Should he go on loan to a Championship team? Not a hope. He'd be kicked out of the way and then in the Championship. Championship would be too robust for him. No, listen, the best thing Bryan Hill can do is go back to Spain, go back to Girona, play in the Champions League, and make yourself a decent player down there, which I'm sure he will.
Yeah. Look, I wish him all the best, and I wish him all the very best at all.
Dermo, can I ask you about how? I mean, you've said about Conte, and I'm not particularly disagreeing with you about Conte. I don't think Conte so much did a lot of the players any favors when it comes to bringing them up. But Postecoglou obviously doesn't see much in him either, because you'd think, well, he wouldn't be willing to let him go. Because, he obviously must not see that much in him as well. So, that's 3 or 4 different managers now, all from different walks of life. Nuno, Conte, and that. And so there must be something. I'm not saying it's the kid's personality, but there's something there that isn't right.
Yeah, I think he's more homesick. Would you all agree in that? It's more homesickness than
he keeps on going back to Spain, isn't he? He never asked to go to France, or he never asked to go to Italy, or never asked to go to stay in England, which is what I think he should have done. But he keeps asking, or he keeps going back to the same place. That should tell you a lot, I think, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, we'll have to look. Last question on Bryan Hill. Favorite Bryan Hill moment?
The 4-0 against Palace. I think he was really good in that game.
Yeah,
he's had moments.
He also made a great when he played Man City. That he made the flick out of defence that created one of the Sonny's goals against Manchester City in the away game. He's had a few moments, but the thing about it, he's not consistent enough. Yeah. He wasn't playing often enough to be consistent, you know.
I think for me was when he came on for the Champions League against Marseille and got the penalty that got us back into it. Mm-hmm. He was only on the pitch for about 5 or 6 minutes, and he got a penalty that got us back in, which set up Richarlison to get a double that night. So, but look, thank you, Hill, for your services. Wherever you go, you'll always be a Spurs player. We'll always look out for you. But thank you very much, and good luck with the rest of your career. Now, I'm going to put on my tin hat because I think I need to duck. Now, this is only speculation, but I think there's legs in it. Though somebody might disagree with me on that, and rightly so. Now, unconfirmed, Tottenham to accept a 40 million bid for Kulu from Aston Villa amid speculation now. We were told earlier this could be, this could happen. It might not. Look, I'm going to go with you, Philip. You're not happy with this, to be fair.
I'm not happy with it for a number of reasons, right? Firstly, I don't want to see Kulu go. I think he's a vital part of our squad. Secondly, what lunatic is thinking of selling him to one of our main rivals for the Champions League next season? Like we were 1 point behind Villa this season to get to the Champions League. I guarantee you, if they're strengthening like hell this summer, if we sell them Kulusevski, we won't get a sniff of the Champions League next season. We're out of it. And that's why, okay, if they're going to sell the player and they want to sell him abroad, but do not sell him to one of our main rivals. It's absolute suicide. And I'm going to keep it at that. Otherwise, I'll say a bit more and I might regret what I say.
I don't look. Just to big up to Boris, he says, I feel Seville would be another loan with an option where, yeah, I think Seville will be a loan for Hill. I think that is, we did say that it will be a loan to buy or a loan with an obligation. It depends where he wants to go. And I think he's got a choice now between the two clubs. Does he want Champions League football or does he want to fight with Seville to get back into the top of La Liga again? But we'll see, whatever. Look, for me, do you know what? I'm sort of open-minded on this Kulu bid, wherever you go.
You want to see Villa strengthened. You want to see Villa strengthened and us weakened then.
Look, it's my opinion, Philip, and you have
no,
yours.
But I'm only saying it's a plain as on and on everybody's face. You're making Villa a better team, and why do that to one of your rivals?
But we don't know who we're bringing in either, Philip.
It doesn't matter. We're losing a guy that's done really well for us over the last couple of years.
I have some games last season. He was really, in my opinion, really frustrating to watch.
Some games last season, most players were pretty frustrating.
And I feel that,
why single him out?
Yeah, hang on. You had just said, can I have mine, please? Just on it. I feel if the right bid came in for whatever club, I think if he wants to leave, he may want to leave. We don't know. We don't know the ins and outs of it. All we know, this is unconfirmed reports. This might not even be true. This could be just a bit of lazy journalism. Who knows? But if it is true, and if he wants to go, then do as Simon says, give us Watkins in return.
Well, that's not going to happen. No way.
Yeah, but look, it all depends on the player. If he wants to move on, if he's not happy at Tottenham, we don't know. We just don't know the situation or the scenario behind of it. There's a lot of fans. There's a lot of fans that want Kulu gone. They don't rate Kulu. There's a lot of fans.
Well, name them. I've never heard anybody say they want to get rid of Kulu.
Caleb, do you want to come in this?
Well, it's just like I think one thing that we're not maybe taking into account is I think Kulusevski is a good player. I do, but maybe Ange doesn't think he fits into his system that much. And as a winger, I don't think he does. As a winger, because he hasn't got the pace. And obviously, look at the signings that Ange has made on the wings. Brendan Johnson, and Timo Werner, even though we don't like a lot of people don't want Timo Werner, but there's similarities in there. They're both pacey wingers. That's one thing that Kulu isn't. Now he's a good player, right? But if Ange looks at him and says, "Okay, I don't really know how to fit you into my team. I don't really want you on the wings because you haven't got the pace I want. I don't really want you up front, though he did well in that the last game of the season, I believe, when he played up front. But I don't really see you as that either. So where do I play you? Maybe you can say, well, maybe he should be an attacking midfielder, competing with Maddison, and maybe that's the best option. But maybe Ange is looking at him and saying he's also one of the few players we can get money for. And if I want to buy such and such and such, then we need to raise the funds. I hate the fact that apparently we've got to raise the funds, but maybe that's what he's been told. So he looks at that Kulusevski is one of the biggest fee. We get 40 million, and also take into account that maybe this has got something to do with Ramsey. Maybe they don't want Lo Celso. Maybe they say, okay, you give us Ramsey, and maybe it'll be part of that deal. So even though I agree with both of you in some ways, the part that I do agree with Philip on is that you have to be careful who you sell these players to. And Villa is our closest rivals for top four.
I understand that, but I don't think. I mean, there's got to be so many factors put into this why a player wants. And you are right, Ange. He did play in 3 different positions last year. So my question to you, Philip, is where's his best position?
His best is probably coming through the centre. But you've got the thing about there is you've got Maddison there. Okay, when Maddison gets injured, we bring in Jacob Ramsey. He's going to be there as well. He's an attacking midfielder. Maybe not more on the wing. But no, it's just like if Kulusevski was sold to Napoli or sold to Antwerp or Bayern Munich or wherever, right? I'd be sad to see him go. But I do not want to see a repeat. We're sitting there in February. Villa are 20 points ahead of us in the league. Why did we sell Kulusevski to them? He's burning it up at Villa. This is my worry. Villa beat us last season when we should have beaten them. They will beat us again this season the way they've been going on and buying players.
They haven't. Right. I had this argument with a Villa fan the other day. And I think I talked to you about it as well, Tequila. I think we did talk about it a bit didn't we, about Villa?
I think we did.
Villa haven't bought all these players Villa are, but I think I said to you as well, Philip. Villa bought what they've bought this season. It's not really big name players.
Oh, Nana is one of the best midfielders in the country.
Yeah, you may have bought 1 or 2. Philip,
he's a big name player. Yeah, well, that's all you need. If we got 1 or 2 big name players, we'd be delighted.
Yeah, look, for me, if Kulu goes, then he goes. There's nothing we can't be angry about. Look, we don't want him to go. He's a good player, finding his for his best position, and we're all frustrated because we haven't done much in the transfer window. And I think that's mostly frustration. If we had players there that could replace these players that are going out, if we bought a better player than Kulu, then I don't think some fans would be so upset with Kulu going. Well, if we had a player better than him.
I think Philip's argument, and I think what's what's making Philip so angry is who we're selling him to.
I think
so much the fact we're selling him.
Yeah, but my feeling on this is right. Villa were a good side last season. They're going to be a better side this season, right? And we're helping them by selling them one of our best players.
They are. I think they're
Dermot, come on. Villa were a very good team last season.
Yeah, but I think they're going to struggle this season. Look, why? Newcastle are great.
They might struggle because of the Champions League, but that's why they're bringing in players to have a bigger squad to cope with the Champions League. But I'm talking about the league. If we sell Kulusevski, and this is my last word on that because I don't want to get annoyed about it. We sell Kulusevski to Villa, right? The most we can hope for next season is 5th.
Right. I don't agree with that.
No, that's your prerogative. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it.
Well, I'm trying to get okay, well, all right, fine.
No, you're on that's my opinion, Dermot. I'm not saying everybody should agree with it. I'm just saying that's my opinion.
Look, for me, I think Villa will struggle this season. I think they will. I think they'll struggle because of the Champions League. You look at Newcastle the season before. Newcastle had a great season, qualified for the Champions League, struggled the following season.
They didn't buy that many players, though, Dermot. They didn't buy that many players.
I just need to get what's in my head out. And I think Villa will struggle this season because I think there's going to be too much on them. They may have bought Onana. They may have bought 1 or 2 players in, but the rest of the players they've bought haven't been big, and we don't know who we're buying yet. We can't see into a crystal ball how the season's going to pan out. We could have a fantastic start, and Emery could have an absolutely awful start. We just don't know. That's the beauty of football. That's the beauty of the game we love, because it's so unpredictable. And look, if Kulu goes, I'd be sad to see him go. But I think getting annoyed because we're selling him to Villa and that, we cannot have a say in where players go.
No, but
if he's given an option, right? If he's given an option of going back to Napoli with Conte, or going to Aston Villa, or going to Bayern Munich, right? He may want to say, well, look, my preference is to go to Aston Villa. It's like Eze. Eze's got 3 options on the table. Go to Man City, go to Tottenham, go to somewhere else. Eze's preference is to go to Tottenham. But if you
why isn't he there? Why isn't he here then?
Because transfers take time, Philip.
Guys, should we just move on to the next?
But this is weird. The Eze thing has been dragging around since the end of last season, and still no movement.
Just agree to disagree in it.
You know,
just move on.
Yeah, we will. There's something.
Everyone's allowed an opinion. So you've both said your opinion. So it's cool, bro. Let's just.
That Jacob Ramsey's not for sale. Big up to Villa 1982, James UTFV. Big up to you, sir. We've got also football and boxing said we've seen Kool-Aid is best. I don't think he will improve much more. There's a lot of decisive. There's a lot of different. Louis Chu Music saying Bergville was better than Kulu, in my opinion.
Wow.
I think Bergville is a talent. Villa want Felix as well. I've heard that. Big up to High Side Dancer. THFC 83. Sorry, not bringing up your chats, guys. We will get into that. Selling Kulu is a good thing, says Football and Boxing. Stephen says Kulu is overrated, given to Villa. We talk football. Kulu can be better, but if we sell it has to be abroad. So he's agreeing with Philip. Don't know how true this is. People close to Tony said he only wants Tottenham on his prepared to run his contract down. Villa are a better team, says Christopher Inshaw. We need to aim higher than Kulu. It's not good enough. Neil Shafton, big up Neil, says there is a lot of smoke because we've yet to make big. And this is my point. There is a lot of smoke because we haven't made the big splash yet. I'm putting our big boy underwear and land a world-class striker. I think there's going to be a lot of speculation around Tottenham because we haven't really got started yet. I would have signed after his loan. So it's divided, that one. I knew it would divide people. Now, Jacob Ramsey. Aston Villa and Tottenham are nearing sanctuary a deal for the Senso to go one way and Ramsey to come the other. Look, how do you feel about this one, Tequila, about Ramsey at first? I'll do let's start with you, Philip, and I'll go with Ramsey.
Firstly, I'd like to reply to Boris saying I'm letting it move on because it's not about Levy. Classic. That's great. Thank you, Boris. Love it.
I did think you were going to come in with a Levy quote.
I could have turned it into a Levy rant, but no, you know what?
I'm surprised you didn't.
Sometimes even I need my nights off from the Levy bashing. It's very exhausting.
To be fair, you're very fair when it comes to you're very. I have to say, you are Levy out, but you're very fair-minded when you and me have discussions on it, and I have to say you are on that. And the Philip as well will probably say the same thing.
I try
to be very level-headed when it comes to that, whereas most people are not. You're more the level-headed ones.
It's just a lot of passion. It's just watching shows from different sides and then trying to kind of Everyone's got a point. It's just there's a lot of passionate Spurs fans, which I'm not sure you want to get rid of the passion, but just treat each other a bit nicer. That's all I've got to say about that. As for Jacob Ramsey, Dermo, like I said with the Kulu stuff, I wonder if there's a little bit of a, we've seen all the reports of Lo Celso, and it makes sense because Lo Celso did so well under Emery for Villarreal, so that's why we're putting 2 and 2 and getting 4. But maybe we've inquired about Ramsey, maybe. And they've turned around and said, okay, Okay, how about Kulu? And maybe Angie's like, well, maybe it wasn't my first choice to give you Kulu, but maybe he wants Ramsey so badly. If it is Angie who wants him, hopefully it is. Then maybe this is the way to do it. Do I agree with it?
Yeah.
I don't know if Jacob Ramsey's good enough. I know that he's a good player with prospect, but I don't know if he's a better player than Kulu. I'm not sure that he is. That's my point. If that was the reason, I'm not sure he is.
No, look, for me, Lo Celso's had his chance, I think.
Well, Lo Celso has, yeah.
Yeah, he plays better for Argentina than he does for us, to be fair. And that's been an argument. I mean, Philip, where are you on this one, Lo Celso and Ramsey deal?
Yeah, I'd like to see Ramsey coming in. If it doesn't happen, I would still like to see Lo Celso held on as a squad member, because I think he can, at some stage he's going to turn it on for us like he does for Argentina. But I think Ramsey would be a good move for him to go back to Unai Emery at Villa, because he obviously knows the guy, and obviously Unai Emery likes him and wants him. Jacob Ramsey will give us another attacking threat as a midfielder, which we need. And so I mean, I'll not be upset if Lo Celso stays, but I'd be happier if Ramsey came.
Yeah.
Philip, would you take losing Kulu for Ramsey though?
No.
How would you feel about that?
No. I think we need both of them.
You want both of them?
Yeah.
Big up to Kate as well. She just asked me personally.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again, Kate.
She did say hi to me and Philip as well.
Okay.
So big up to you, Kate. Just a girl who loves Spurs. Look.
Great channel, guys. Get over there as well.
Yeah. Look, for me, I think this deal makes sense. Personally, I think Lo Celso would do. He likes playing under Emery. He played under him at Villarreal when they got to the Champions League semi-final. I think he will play well under him. He'll get the best out of him. And I think Ramsey would do well with us. I think Postecoglou would get the best out of Ramsey. Are you happy so far, Philip, with the transfer business we've done so far, with the players that we have brought in?
I'm delighted with the two we've brought in. Obviously, I'd like to have seen more happening. It's getting to the stage now. We were hoping at the end of the season that most of the transfer business will be done by the time the pre-season started. That has not been the case yet again, for whatever reasons. But I'd say we're still in the market for players. We will still bring in players, I'm sure. Players will leave. I'm sure that will happen as well. But I don't think you can ever be totally happy with a transfer window. It never, ever happens in a time scale you want it to. It always gets delayed for numerous reasons, agents probably being a lot of the problem. And I have no doubt Ange has his shopping list out there. Joseph Lange, I'm sure, is working hard on it. So is the new scout, the head scout we brought in. So, yeah, I'd say at the moment, I'm 6 out of 10 on it, but I want to be 9 out of 10 by the end of the transfer window.
If that's the case, what do you want to see to get you up to 9 out of 10?
A striker, another attacking midfielder, and another fullback. That would do me.
I would. I think the striker, we discussed about it last night, Philip, about the Juventus striker. I mean, that's still... That could happen. But a lot of people are saying he's injury prone, but you got Ivan Toney, who apparently wants to come to us. I want to see deals. I mean, apparently, I've been told there's a lot of deals bubbling away. It's just about the market hasn't moved yet, and it's waiting for one team. It's like a domino effect. Once one team does something, the rest of the window falls into place then, and it's just waiting for that one big move.
Yeah, but that's fair enough saying that. But if we're going to be buying from the continent, how's that going to affect transfers between British clubs?
Because
they're all treated individually, surely.
Yeah, but transfers is like buying and selling a house. If you're buying a player off a team, they're going to want a player to replace that player. So it's all about
on a property ladder, aren't you, mate?
Pardon?
Yeah. So you're getting on a property ladder.
Yeah, but it is. It's like buying a house in a way. Because say we buy the striker from Juventus, right? They're going to want a striker to replace him. So that means they have to go out and look for another club. It's all about domino effects. And this transfer window has been a slow burn, A, because of the Copa America, B, because of the European Championships as well, which slowed everything down. And The only teams that were able to do anything were the teams that were buying players from players that weren't in the Euros. So I do believe in the next week. I mean, I was told today, I was speaking to somebody today, that in the next 72 hours or by the end of the week, begin next week, a load of transfers could be done. So we have to be patient. And I hate the word saying being patient. I rarely do. I rarely do hate the word being patient, but I think with this we have to. And we're going to get a lot of news out. We're going to get a lot of fake news. We're going to get a lot of speculation. We're going to get a lot of news that's true, that's going to lead us up so many garden paths. But you got to weed out of it. You got to weed the fact from the fiction. And I think with Tottenham, we have got money to spend, but it's about spending it on the right players. We've spent money before, guys, and we've wasted the money. We've absolutely wasted money on players that want. Dombele's Tanguy is the first one that springs to mind. We wasted nearly 70 million on that guy. How many strikers have we bought before we wasted money on, only to find the best striker in the world come through our ranks?
That's made Levy gun shy, by the way, that and Dombele transfer. And the thing is, I don't even know if I can blame him. If I wasted that much money on something, I'd be a bit gun shy towards paying it again as well.
So,
gotta be honest.
Look, Philip, the transfer market is the most frustration part of the season. I wish transfers were all year round, like they were back in the old days.
Yeah, more fun as well, I thought, anyway.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean, Philip?
Yeah, but the thing about that is that, yeah, I do and I don't, because that if you're going well in the league, say you've got say Harry Kane 20 years ago, we're top of the league and Harry Kane scored 35 goals and Manchester City come in and buy him and suddenly we drop down the league. That's why the transfers during the season will stop, because of the effect it can have on teams, the bigger teams coming in and buying their best players. So that's why it stops. So I think in a way it's probably a good thing only to have 2 transfer windows in the year.
I mean, you go back to the first season of the Premier League. Man United bought Eric Cantona off Leeds in September, October.
Yeah,
that won Man United the league.
Well, that's probably one of the reasons they stopped the thing, because of that.
Yeah, but if you look at it that way, that helped. How many times have we bought a player late in the season to help us back in the day?
I know. It probably works both ways, but I still think the present system, frustrating as it can be, is the fairest way to do it.
But I feel the transfer windows put too much pressure on clubs, and especially on the scouts and everyone to get it to buy players in.
But the scouts should have their work done. The scouts should have their work done outside the transfer window. They should have their list ready for when the transfer window starts. It shouldn't put any pressure on the scouts. He's done his job. He's identified the players. It's up to the club to go and buy those players, not him.
Now, Tequila, look, I think we've got our eggs in the basket, and we're just waiting for it to trigger to be pulled, and that's what I've been told. And I've no reason not to believe that.
Well, there's one bit of news coming through this evening. Now, this is a rumor. I'm not going to say it's fact, but there's a word going around the Ipswich are going to bid 18 million for Jack Clark from Sunderland. And if that's the case, we get 40% of the transfer fee. So Clark is actually going to make us some money, even if he made nothing when he's with us.
We'll get 8 million out of it.
Yeah, that's exactly true.
So if you work on that then, Tequila, right? Transfer window is only 2 months out, and we have got our eggs in the basket, and it has become very frustration. Is it more of, I am going to say it, is the frustration more led by Levy's reputation and what he's done in the past to transfer window itself? Do you think Levy's what he's done in the past and how we've done transfer window, that sort of leads fans to be more frustrated than thinking, well, do you know what? We have to wait and see what happens.
I mean, okay, so this is where I like Ange, right? And I'm Ange in. I think and I want to see him being given longer. But one of the things I think, one of the mistakes I think he's made is by saying we were going to challenge this season. Now, I don't really understand why he said that, unless maybe that I understand in believing in yourself. right? And he obviously believes in himself and his philosophy, and that's great. I want a manager who believes in that. But I don't know what he thinks he's going to get financially to be able to build that kind of team to be able to compete with Man City and stuff like that.
But he had to say something.
Yeah,
he couldn't come in and say, "Oh, we're going to finish 14th this season."
No, I know he couldn't say. I know he couldn't say that. He had to be upbeat. But what he's done also, he's added that extra pressure on himself, because now it's like people who are are like, well, has he been told something by Daniel Levy that he's going to be getting this influx of cash all of a sudden?
I agree with Stephen. He's confident. He's confident in his abilities.
That's fine. I've no problem with being confident. I'm just saying that he hasn't done himself any favours.
To be fair, and I know a lot of people are going to say the Scottish League is a nothing league. My argument to that is you still got to beat Rangers 4 times a year, and you still got to beat what's in front of you to win a league up there. To win a league up in Scotland ain't as easy as everyone thinks it is. Me and Philip follow a lot of Celtic. We're massive Celtic fans, so me and Philip know what we're talking about. And everywhere he's gone, his second season, he's won something. Everywhere.
And I know that. I've seen it. I've seen the stats that he has a much better second season than the first. I know that. But still, to be able to win the league and stuff like that. And there's some people in the chat saying he didn't mean win the league, he meant challenge him. Well, that's also incredibly difficult. By challenging, that says to me, like, you've got to be within 5 or 6 points of the champions for the majority of the league.
And this is where I think this season's so interesting, because look, no team won it 4 years in a row. I don't think Man City are going to win the league this year. I don't think they're going to win 5 in a row.
You didn't think they were going to win it last season, either, damn.
Well, I'm starting. You start this season with a clean slate. You start this season, everyone with a clean bet, and it depends. Any team can have a great start. Any team can have a poor start. The only time we can judge Ange on what he's done at Tottenham is at the end of next season, when the season is done. I think the time, I know what you're getting at, Tequila, and you're making very good points on that. But
it was more about trying to answer your question initially. You asked me about Levy, and I was trying to say that Ange has also put more pressure on the whole thing, because it's like now we expect, and I think it's starting to come out in the community. We all expected these blockbuster signings. I didn't, actually. I actually like the Gray signing. I like the other youngsters. I'm quite happy we're going the youth route, because I do honestly believe, just like with Bale and Modric and players like that, that is when I think Spurs were at their best, when they got these players in younger and then they became superstars. Because we can't compete with Man City. We can't, and we never will be able to while they're here, and then, with their money.
Does that then bring it in, guys, then to an unfair? It makes it an unplaying playing field if you've got a nation back in one football club, and every other club that doesn't has to balance the books, and you do have to balance the books in football.
That's up to the FA to do their business with Manchester City, which is dragging on forever.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know it's 30 years ago. But still, I can remember I was alive when my club nearly didn't exist. So was Philip there. We were both at different ages, both looking at a time, who do we support? And I don't think me or Philip could both say we would support anyone else if Tottenham did go out of business. I don't think we would we, Philip, in a way?
Probably I'd be a Celtic fan.
Celtic fan, that'd be it. So I know what it's like. We wasted times back then. And I know people can say different times, different generation. We wasted money left, right, and centre back then. And you look at other clubs that have spent big. Where are they now? Where are these clubs now that have spent big that didn't have nations backing them? They're nowhere. They're somewhere in the first League One or the Championship struggling. So for the rights or wrongs with it, with Daniel Levy, how much he frustrates everyone, how much people don't like him or whatever. He's turned us into a rich club. He's turned us into a financially club that's secure for the first time properly in our history in a long time. And that we've got to thank him for. Secondly, Ange, I think, has put pressure on him by the players he wants in. He's not just Levy. down to the scouting network, down to Lang as well. And I do believe, and I'm going to stand by this, we will get quality signings in. It's just not like playing Football Manager or FIFA or EA Sports. These takes time, and I'll say it again, and I'm blue in the face. Transfers take time. Not any, apart from Manchester United and Villa, who've been spending money like willy-nilly. No other club in the Premier League's bought anyone.
Ipswich have bought quite a few.
Margin.
Ipswich have bought quite a few, but the kind of bargain basement buys, you know.
Yeah, the bargain pay. And look, we will get there, and we will get the players we want in. And Andrew returned. We will have a very good season, but we just have to wait to see how it pans out, because we could all rant and rave and say nothing's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen in the next hour. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know who's going to come in, who's going to go out. Transfers and football transfers it's a frustrating frustrating time of the season for everyone. And we all want Tottenham to buy the best. Of course we do. There's nothing more than we want to see bringing in, splashing the cash and bringing in big players. But A, will they fit in the Premier League? And B, do they fit into an Ange system? We have to make sure we buy the right players to fit the right system for us to move on and succeed. And I think we're in for a good season this year. We've got the kids. We've bought in some very good early signings. And we've got the kids as well, and the players that were there from last season. I read an article yesterday, Philip and Tequila, that 6 of the players, I wish I put it onto a PDF now. 7 of them are under the age of 20. That's Mickey van der Ven, Brendan Johnson, and players like that are under the age of 23.
Yeah.
Most of that first team is under the age of 23. And then you add the kids into that, and you add in a few experienced players when you buy them in. We could be in for one hell of a ride this season. So as much as who sounds like Perry Groves?
I do, apparently. Thank you.
All right.
I think. I don't know. Is that a compliment or is that a dig? I actually don't know. Any feedback would be appreciated.
Well, Harry's asking me if I'm American. A second time somebody said to me,
American?
No, yeah. That's the second time that's come up. So look, frustrations will happen. Look, it will happen. It's all we can say, isn't it? You know what it's like, guys. Football's a funny old game. 1 minute we're pulling our hairs out. Next minute we're jumping for joy because we've bought the great thing. But Philip, question to you: FFP and PSI does play a major part in football now, doesn't it?
Does for most teams, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them can just give 2 fingers to it and get away with it, and we all know who that is. So there's got to be an equal playing field for every team, regardless how much pressure is brought to bear on various people not to punish the guilty party in this case. And if I was Nottingham Forest or an Everton fan, I'd be absolutely apoplectic the way they've been treated, and yet Manchester City can just fly away in the face of everything, you know.
Tequila, I mean, do you want to answer Louis Chi's music here before we end off here?
Yeah, I mean, he's right. He's got to remember that all the revenue gets into the football team because we need to play for the stadium, previous transfer transactions and other stuff. I mean, again, this is again where Levy has done himself no favours. I'm not going to go on a Levy rant, but what I'm going to say is this. He's the one who told us or made promises. And Jeff, that once we got the new stadium, that we'll be able to compete. Now, I think as far as wages are concerned, he's kind of told the truth. To imagine, I don't know who our highest earner is nowadays, but we know that Kane was on a bucket load. We know that Ndombele was as well. So as far as that's concerned, I think he's told the truth. But I think our transfer fees, I think we've been okay. It's not like we haven't never spent any money, but I think that people, and maybe this is the part which is the fans' fault, they got themselves too caught up in it. They thought that after we got the new stadium that we'd be the biggest spenders in the league and stuff like that. And because it hasn't transpired that way, that's a disappointment. And it's stuff like that which I think Levy has to take accountability for, because you shouldn't say stuff like that. You shouldn't have stuff like that unless you're going to back it up. He may feel he's backed it up, but he's put a rod in his own back. Because a lot of fans are saying, "Well, mate, we've got this new stadium that we're paying for," like Lee says, but shouldn't we be doing better on the field because we've got the best stadium in the world apparently, or one of them? So, but that came from Levy himself. Don't say that stuff, then, mate. Don't say that stuff if you're not going to back it up.
What do you say to that, Philip? What's your response to that?
I think poor old Daniel Levy's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. I don't think he's ever going to get the credit.
No.
Okay, he deserves a lot of criticism for things he's done. I'm not denying that. But, I think maybe he shouldn't have said what he said when the stadium came along. Okay, it's 5 years since we moved into the stadium, and maybe things should now, the finances should be in a position to move on to the next level as regards buying players. Maybe that's going to happen in the next few weeks. I hope it does. Because as comments were passed, some of the signings we made last season came in under the radar. No one had heard of Pape Matar. Look how good he's become. Adoji is the same. So, we need a couple of what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for a similar word there. High profile signings. That's a better way of putting it. And whether that's going to be Ivan Toney, whether it's going to be Chiesa from Juventus or whatever, a couple of signings like that could change.
You mean like a marquee signing?
A marquee signing. That's what I'm looking for. A marquee signing. Yeah. A marquee signing could revolutionize this club. We have some brilliant young players there. We really have young players, and we've got the right manager to bring those young players through. So I am relatively confident for this season. It depends on a few things. One, not selling your best players to your opposition. That's a huge thing. But if we can bring in maybe 3 more players, I think we're going to be challenging. What for? Don't ask me. We're a bit into the season. But I think we should hopefully finish higher than last season.
I think we are going to finish higher than last season. Look, I'm very optimistic about the season. It's not just because I know someone's going to say, "Show you've been delusional." I'm just confident we are going to do better than last season because a lot of the players have had a year of handball. They've had a year under Ange Postecoglou, and I think they're going to be better with the youngsters, with the players that we could be bringing in as well. We don't know who we're going to bring in. I mean, Boris said about Vicario. Nobody heard about Vicario unless you watch Serie A.
Yeah. Well, that's where the scouting comes in. That's where good scouting comes in.
Yeah, and look at the players. Nobody heard of Romero. Nobody heard of Mickey van der Ven. Nobody heard of Destiny Udogie. No, as Philip said, Basuma even.
And Dermo, this is where we've done well, isn't it? This is where we have done well because our scouting has actually improved again. So the players we're bringing in mostly been successes. And you look, even the best scouting, even teams like Brighton, right? That's kind of where everyone's looking now, like the Brighton model. Even they don't get it right 100%.
No, and that's the model we use. Tottenham used the Brighton model, and that's the model we use.
That's the model. Yeah, it's the stat crunching. That's what the model is. Yeah,
and also, and Neil's right at the bottom there. We only got derailed last season because of injuries.
Didn't help.
It was the only. You look at the Chelsea game. Chelsea should. I know Chelsea were a load of crap, but Chelsea. I know they beat us 4-2 at the end, but for most of that game, we could have won that. We could have drawn that with 9 men.
Thank you.
And if we had a better squad last season, I think we would have got Champions League. It was only we got injuries and suspensions at the wrong time, and we didn't have the proper squad players to come in and play well, which some of them didn't. Then you can't help for that.
That Chelsea game cost us. That Chelsea game cost us.
It did cost us, but if you take the whole game as a whole, with 9 men, Philip, and we did a watch along to that night, to that game, it's a game we could have won. We could have got a point from that.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? It's for ifs or buts or a goal here or a game here. It was only injuries that derailed us.
Yeah.
And you start with the back 5, the back 2, Romero and Van der Ven, and then you bring in a player like Eric Dyer and Sanchez or Davis. How many mistakes did they make? How many mistakes did everyone make last season?
Yeah.
Once we had our full team back, We went to Aston Villa and beat them 4-0.
Yeah.
So
the injuries at the wrong time, just that didn't help.
Exactly. And I just feel this season, I think we need to let the transfer market run its course and run how it's supposed to run, and not get paid, not get aggravated by it. Things will happen if they happen. If they don't buy anyone by the end of this window, then have your rant. Then have you saying it, because you'll have every right to be angry. But there's no point starting now being angry or pointing fingers at Levy or the board or the scout network, because the transfer window's nowhere near finished yet. We could come off this stream and in the next hour, breaking news from Fabrizio Romero, Tottenham have signed Ivan Toney. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's in the pipeline. So I think it has to be a wait and see. And we're not the only ones. Every other club in the Premier League that hasn't done business yet, their fans are doing exactly the same. So I'm not going to get agitated or angry or start blaming people because at Tottenham, because we haven't bought anyone yet. We bought Archie, great signing. Bergville, great signing. We've got there's another 4 players coming in: a defender, a midfielder, a winger, and a striker. Let's see at the end of the season, guys, because there's no point in getting angry now because there's still so much of the window left to do. Yeah. So that's my view in it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. Maybe people don't agree with that. But I'm just leaving it to Paratici and the guys and Lang and see where it goes, because we could end up having a very good window. Let's see. Liverpool hasn't done. Milton said Liverpool hasn't done a ton of business. Nor's Man City, Chelsea. Don't know how they're buying players, but they are. But not a lot of the Premier League Big Six have done a lot of business. Them lot down the road haven't done any business yet. So we're not the only ones. And the next signing could be the signing we all wanted. So that's my opinion.
I agree, Dermo, to a certain degree, but I think also it's just the way it is. It's natural when you see teams who are going to be challenging us next year, like a Villa, like a United, and United will be better this year than they were last year. And when you see them buying very good players like Xerxes, he's a good player, that kid, and the Euro defender, he's going to be a good player as well. So they're making good signings as well, and Villa are making good signings. So I think that's why, because the teams around us, or at least the teams who are probably going to challenge us next year, are making good signings. You're right, Arsenal haven't, and Liverpool haven't. But I don't know if I think we'll be in a race for fourth. This is my expectations for next year.
Yeah, I think so.
So I see United and Villa as direct kind of competition for that fourth place. So when you see them two making better signings than us overall, at least more marquee signings, I think that adds to the frustration as well, Dermo. That's the point I'm going to make.
And I think there's some fans as well, whatever Tottenham bring in, they're never going to be happy. Unless they bring in, as Boris says, a Mbappe, Haaland, or somebody like that. But look, and Carl says, may I just point out, no hate on Villa, but apart from Onana, I wouldn't want any of their signings. Neither would I. And Jerry Beck said it's not Levy holding things up. It's definitely 2 deals. It's a selling club. And Philip, very quickly before we end, it is, isn't it? It's like you have to sell a player to bring a player in. And it's about offloading the players, the deadwood that's in the club. 80% of the deadwood's gone. So the squad's different, Philip, from last season, isn't it?
Yeah. But just to go back to that point there about the Gary's comment, Levy isn't. He's right. Levy isn't holding things up. Maybe not even the other club is holding it up. The agents could be the one that's holding it up, because the agent might be saying to his player, "You hang on for another club to come in for you. You'll get more money, or I'll get more money." So it's just a pity transfers could not be made a little bit more streamlined. And I see the agents' commission is going to be capped from this October, which is a good thing, and might stop their influence, because they have too much of an influence on transfers. Really, it's not for the good of their client; it's for the good of their bank balance. That's the way they look at it.
What do you think of this comment here from Boris, Dermo?
They won't. Do you want to read that one out? Sorry.
There won't ever be a signing these lot won't be happy with. The only signings these lot seem to be happy with will be someone like Haaland, Mbappe, Musiala, and I not to that level. I think those players will probably never play for Tottenham. Right, I'll be honest. None of those.
They had for me on EA Sports.
You signed Pogba though. This is the man who signs Pogba. That's what I'm saying about that.
Oh dear.
But no, the idea is meant to be, Boris, I think anyway, is to make the next versions of them much harder than, of course, much harder than it. Most teams don't. That's what I mean. We need to get the players before they become the Haalands and the Mbappes. And that's the only chance we've really got. So that's why I'm seeing these younger signings. And I personally am okay with it. Would I like a 30-goal-a-season striker? Damn right.
We need one.
But that's 100 million, probably.
We've been kingmaker 3 times in the last decade. We turned Gareth Bale into probably the greatest British player ever.
Modric,
We turned Luka Modric, and we got Harry Kane. So we've actually done it in reverse, if you like.
Yeah.
So.
Well, look, that is the latest on transfer. We've had mad numbers tonight, up to nearly 50 of you watching at one point, which is absolutely
cool. Thanks, guys.
Mental. So thank you so much for coming in. We're probably up against bigger channels as well. So it means a hell of a lot to me and Philip and Tequila and Colin when we get numbers like that. It really, really does. Philip, do you know before we say to people about Patreon and where they can find all the normal stuff and where they can find Tequila as well, any wisdoms you can give anyone from the football god that you are, the football legend you are? Is there any sort of final
That's why it's called
the
Godfather. This is like the Godfather's speech. So you're up.
Is there any passing wisdom you can give to Tottenham fans tonight, Philip?
I would just ask them to be patient. Not to judge things. We're now the 23rd, 24th of July, right? Season doesn't start for another 27 days. There's lots of time for things to happen, lots of time for good things to happen, and I think that they will do eventually. But I think the worry we've got is if we don't. I don't know how toxic things are going to get on here if we don't sign a striker, if we don't get a replacement for Harry Kane, which we didn't do last season. I think that could be nasty. The fans are not going to be happy there. If we get a striker in and we get a midfield player and another defender, I think Spurs fans have every reason to be very happy. But just sit on your hands, lads. Don't press the I hate Levy button just yet. Give him a chance. There's lots of days to go. The club are out in Japan at the minute, so hopefully the backroom team are still back in London working away on these transfers. And they keep the faith. The good times are coming. That's all I can say.
Tequila, where can people find you?
You can find me on this good channel with your good selves, of course, and you can find me on my little gaming channel called The Play Pouch, where we this week talked about the price hikes for Xbox and Sony's Game Passes, which most people are not very happy about. But they're putting the prices up, so everyone holding to your wallets, I guess. But thanks for having me again, lads.
You're welcome.
Now, and listen, do you want to tell people about the Patreon and what we're doing with that, Tequila? Because you're the manager of the Patreon bit of the channel.
I'm the master of the Patreon. Well, guys, as you guys, if you don't know, then we'll tell you again that unfortunately we have been demonetized by YouTube. It is to do with old content we've used that we didn't realize. So we are fixing that and in the process of appealing that, but it won't be heard until end of August, I believe. So in the meantime, we have created a Patreon, and big up for Boris and Ian S for being the 2 members. And we're grateful for that. But if any of you guys have got any spare dollars, and we all know times are tough, so we're not going to hate you if you don't or anything. But if any of you do, just to help keep the lights on for us, guys, would be appreciated. I'll put the link in again. And thanks for anyone who takes us up on it and supports us in that way. We are very grateful, aren't we, lads?
Yep.
Yeah, I am. And we're doing a little video tomorrow, which we're going up as well to explain to people about the Patreon. Tomorrow, Tequila Transfer Tippets is coming up tomorrow, isn't it? Tomorrow afternoon, about 5 o'clock. We're going to put that out on.
We're gonna do a pre-record, aren't we? Yeah, I'm not sure what time it'll be tomorrow, but
we're going to do that tomorrow evening. We're back again. Of course, tomorrow is Wednesday evening. Tomorrow, and then more transfer news, views, and We may do transfer tippets live. If there's no Spurs news, we may actually do transfer tippets live tomorrow at 7. So we will wait and see where that goes. There will be a pre-record as well on the Korean lad we're signing from South Korea and what impact he will have on Tottenham. And also, I'm going to do a pre-record on the transfer market so far and my thoughts so far, as well as a build-up to the game on Saturday. Somebody asked us in the chat, Philip, what's your score prediction Saturday? Because you're not with us this weekend for this watch along.
No.
So what is your score prediction for this Saturday?
Well, no, nothing about the Japanese team at all. I'd say 3-1 to Spurs.
There you go. We will see that. And if you are a member, join our Discord. Put your videos in today, what you think the game is going to be on Saturday. Put in your score predictions, and we'll get them up on the channel. Thank you all for watching. Please take care of yourself and one another. Whatever you do, come on, you Spurs. In Big Ant we trust. We will be successful. And we will.
Coys.
Coys.